This video that I want to do today is going to be for the people who are looking to understand what it means to ascend and then actually attain that level of ascension. And it's also for the people that then want to go out there and teach these things to people on planet Earth. So the things that I want to talk about today are the aspects of service to self that are to do with the human characteristics that we will need to master in order to truly ascend. And that was quite a mouthful. Let me break this down. This might be quite humorous to some of you because you're going to have heard it somewhere else. But we're going to be having a look at this idea of the 7 sins, which is a terrible way to describe them anyway. But these 7 sins of the human characteristics or the human psyche that are perhaps quite self-orientated, service to self. And if I remember rightly, that is pride, gluttony, greed, wrath, sloth, envy, and whichever the other ones are as well that go along with it. And there are more that are associated. But if we are to master ourselves, and if we are to master being of service to others, we must understand these human characteristics and how to overcome them. Now notice how I said it's a bad thing to call them the 7 sins, because it's a part of the human characteristics. It's there to help you grow. It's there to help you learn. So to call it a sin is absolutely ridiculous because you're going to do it at some point in life anyway. So we may as well just accept what it is and then learn to move through it and to understand what it means. In order to master these, we must understand certain things that are going to help us to be of service to others. And in my opinion, that is having things like compassion, being able to think of other people as well as yourself, and being able to understand why you have these characteristics within you. Because in order for us to get to this big conclusion that is coming, which is being of service to others, which is coming from love and light, we needed these in the beginning. You know, we're beginning to repeat ourselves here for good reason. So if you are to be of service to others and then ascend within yourself, you must also ascend these lower vibrational emotions and states of being, which is anger, hatred, gluttony, greed, and all these other aspects. Now I'd like to show you something. You may not be able to see this, but over in the distance there is a castle. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad or negative about it. They are who they are. But that castle right there is a statement of greed, of self-importance, of pride, and probably everything else you could imagine underneath those components and aspects. Now, whoever lives there, that's totally fine. I'm not here to knock them. But that is a statement of superiority, as well as all of the monarchies and all of the other religious components like the Vatican, of which I've actually been within myself, and I can guarantee you that the detail and the gold inlay that is around there is a statement of superiority. It's not difficult to see that. And the reason why I'm saying this to you is because it's time to look within instead of looking for our answers without. Because what has been without us has not necessarily taught us what it is we needed to ascend. Okay, it's not given us what we needed to ascend. It's given us certain ways of being that has perhaps led to this level of service to self. So coming back to these characteristics like anger, greed, hatred, you must learn to master them if you are to be ready to embody the Christ consciousness. Right? Now I've paused there for a reason. I am not a Christian and I'm not religious. However, I do understand what Jesus Christ came here to do. If you believe But I do understand what Jesus Christ came here to do. And he came here to teach love and light and to teach other people that there was nothing different between what they believed God was and what they believed they are. There is no difference. They are one and the same. He was here to teach you to love your neighbor, to love your brothers and sisters around you, and he was here to teach the law of one and to teach love and light. But over the years, it, as I've said before, got twisted, contorted, and mashed into something it was not supposed to be. So coming back to this Christ consciousness, what I do understand is that when they say that Jesus was going to return, they didn't mean as a physical body. What they meant is that Jesus is going to return within all of us. This Christ consciousness, this Christ energy that we will embody when we are ready to ascend. But we can only ascend when we learn to master the components of the self that are self-orientated, right? Anger, lust, greed, gluttony, envy, ... So if we are able to master these, we will prepare ourselves to be ready for the higher density of energies, which could very well be this Christ level of consciousness. And when you reach the Christ level of consciousness, in my belief and my opinion, you surpass the third dimensional way of thinking, which is that any of this actually matters, which is that any of this is actually real, okay? That is when you reach the level of Christ consciousness that is necessary to usher in, quite profound, the sun has just started shining. That is when you reach the level of consciousness that's going to help you to then usher in this level of love and light into the world. But we must be ready for this Christ consciousness in order to embody it. And that means mastering the aspects of the self that are service to self. Now this is quite a mouthful, and for some of you I'd recommend watching this video back again, but this video is also not just for you to be ready to ascend, but it's also for you to be ready to then go out and do what I am doing, which is helping other people to understand what all of this actually means. So if you're to be ready to ascend, you're then going to be able to embody your purpose and your mission here on earth to go out and then help other people to do the same, okay? But you're going to have to understand these components, these levels of the self, right? I'll give you a personal example. One of my service to self actions that I need to change is anger. Because anger has a very soft spot in my heart, because it saved me. It allowed me to survive in a world that would have seen me want to kill myself or want to do something else horrible, right? I needed that anger so that I could protect myself. That anger built and developed my sacred boundaries so that I could then be who it is that I am today. A man who, to the best of his human capabilities, looks to come from love and light, okay? And in all aspects, there is no level of perfection in the third density reality, but there is a level of action. There is a level of pursuit of love and light. All right, there is a level of pursuit of understanding these components that are going to help us to ascend. So, to round this video off, if you want to know how to ascend, begin at the emotions and the characteristics that might be more service to self than anything else. And then, once you have been able to master and understand these, you may, if you choose to, go on to then teach other people how to do the same thing. And this is how we bring the coming of Christ. Starting to sound like a pastor, aren't I? Starting to sound like a priest or whatever you call them. This is how we usher in the level of consciousness, which may be associated with the Christ consciousness, that's going to bring peace, harmony and love into this world that we are actively fighting for, right? That we are actively pushing for. And again, full disclosure, I'm not Christian, I'm not religious, I'm not interested in any of that, to be in any of that. I'm just me. And in doing me, I follow what feels right. And this feels right, you know, it feels right. And I am truly grateful to every single one of you for being a part of this journey. I'm appreciated from the support. I mean, my goodness, ever since I've been doing these sort of videos out into the groups, the support has been absolutely incredible, and I appreciate it. You know, you make me feel like I'm fulfilling my mission, and there's nothing in the world could match that, okay? So, if you have any questions, pop them down below. I'll happily answer them. You know me, I try and get through all of the comments. I try and get through every comment possible. So, I love all of you. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.